Hi! We are ready to get started on our next project, which is going to be bowls made out of coils of clay. So the materials you need are pretty simple. You need clay and you need a bowl, and that's basically it. This clay is clay that we can fire in my kiln, which you can come and get from me if you would like. And then you can also use air dry clay or salt dough, or really any kind of dough or clay that you want to use that will dry and harden. If you use this kind of clay, you will also need some slip, which I can give you. This is just a really liquidy clay that we will paint on the inside of the bowl right before it dries. And that's it, so we can get started.
Okay, all right, so we are going to be using our clay. We'll just be breaking off pieces and then rolling that clay into snakes. And we want those snakes to be skinnier than your pinky. So like right now, that's too thick. So we want kind of skinny snakes. That broke, that's okay. And you just roll it. You kind of slide your hands out while you're rolling. You can smooth it. And we want snakes. What we're going to do with those snakes is we're going to shape them into designs, and we're going to stick them onto the inside of a bowl. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. This is one that I did a few days ago. So it's dry, still really fragile, but I'm going to flip it out of the bowl. But can you see how there are some cool designs and patterns all around the edges on that? That is what we made with our snakes. So that's what we're going for. But we're going to be using bigger bowls like these. You can use any bowl you want. If you have a bowl that you really like the shape of, go for it. Use that one. But what we'll do is first we're going to form the bottom. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can make snakes, like on this one on the bottom, I just did one big coil and stuck it in the bottom. Or if you want a smooth bottom on your bowl, you can just take a lump of clay and just smash it in there. Can you see what I'm doing inside the bowl? Okay. So that's if you want it smooth, you can just smash it in there. Or, you can go for making a big long snake. And you're gonna just roll it up into a coil like this. I didn't make that skinny enough. And then you'll just push it down here in the bottom. We'll add some more snakes. We'll add some more. And what we wanna do is we wanna cover up the whole bottom. We don't want any of the bowls showing. And after we get the bottom of that in there, now we're gonna work on building up the sides. So these, I made the coils too thick in here, so you're gonna go for a thinner coil now for the sides. There are a lot of different designs that you can do with this. You can make like a snail shell, kind of like that coil I did for the bottom. You can make zigzags. You can make some cool kind of line design. Whatever you wanna do. Here's a pretty good snake. Thinner. All right, so I'm gonna go for another coil just because I think they're kind of cool. Roll that up. And I'm just gonna stick it right here on the side of my bowl. And you're gonna press it down. You don't wanna press really hard because you don't wanna lose the design. But you wanna press it pretty firmly because you need all of these clay pieces to stick together. So there's one coil. Now let's see, for this one I want to do more of a zigzag. So I will zigzag the clay back and forth. Oops. And again, I'll just press it right into the bowl like that. So we'll just keep doing this. We're going to just put lots of different pieces all the way around. And after we get those pieces done, we have to fill in all the gaps with little chunks of clay. But I'm gonna let these two, Amelie and Cricket, work on getting their pieces in the bowl, and we can watch what they do, and then I'll show you how to finish it up. All right. So these two are making their snakes, and it sometimes gets hard to do. These are, one problem that they have had is that the clay starts to dry out the more that you use it with your hands. So there's a cup of water right here, so you can dip your fingers in and keep your fingers wet so that when you're working on the clay, it won't dry out as much. Also, if it starts to get too long, it's okay to break it in half and work with 2 smaller pieces instead. So here, Cricket is putting some of the base into their bowl. And Amelie is working on hers. And so they'll just keep on doing that, keep on making snakes and adding to it. So Cricket is ready to stick a piece on, so I wanted to kind of show you. They're just sticking that on and kind of pressing it in. You don't want to press it so hard that you lose the design, but you want to make sure it's on the bowl pretty firmly. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So here we've got a coil, there's just a circle with a blob pressed in, we've got some vertical pieces, these horizontal zigzags. So there are a lot of different things you can do. You just want to get the clay in there in some interesting way. All right, so Amelie made a heart shape and is now filling in the center so that there is clay. We want to fill in all the gaps and holes and openings so that there's clay all along the sides. Okay, so this one is mostly covered on the sides. So our next step is going to be to fill in with little blobs of clay any openings and holes that you see. So for example, right here, you can see how that clay isn't touching each other. So what we need to do is get just a little pinch of clay and push it in there and fill it in. We don't want any, see now that hole is gone. So here's some more right over here we need to fill in. We need to fill in down here at the bottom. So all of those pieces, we just need to get a little chunk of clay and press it right down inside and fill in all of those gaps so you don't have holes, okay? Wanted to fill hers in all the way up to the top edge of the bowl. So everywhere that was empty, she went ahead and pressed clay in to fill it all the way up to the bowl. So that's a good option. Or if you want to leave it like this, where the top edge of the bowl has the shape of your design, then that's okay too. Now this one isn't done yet because I still have lots of holes, but I just wanted to show you the differences in the tops of the bowls. All right, Cricket is working on filling in all of the holes with their little blobs of clay. So you can turn it, yeah, you can see how they've put little lumps of clay in between each of the coils that they've got there. So they're going to finish working on that, and as soon as they're done, we will show you the next step. All right, this stuff here in this box is called slip, and it's just a really liquid clay. And we are going to use this slip now to paint the inside of our bowls to help fill in any little holes and cracks and stuff. So I'm just going to come over here and you're just going to start painting it, and you're going to get all of it covered with slip. So you'll probably still be able to see some of your design, but if not, it's okay because your design is on the outside of the bowl that we're worried about. So you're just going to cover the whole thing in slip like this. All right, now I'll have Amelie and Cricket do the same to theirs. Okay, guys. All right, and once everything is covered in slip and every nook and cranny has been filled in, you're just gonna leave it and let it dry. And it's gonna take a long time to dry because the plastic isn't very breathable. So this one right here that I did 2 days ago. And you can tell it's dry because it's a lighter color of gray and it has pulled away from the edges of the cup. So you can see, because as clay dries, it shrinks. And so it's gonna get smaller than the bowl that it was made in. There is a little bit of cracking right here that's happened, and so I'm gonna just put a little bit more slip right in there to fill that in, and then we're gonna let it dry some more. So if you guys are making these with the clay that you bought to go in the kiln, what I want you to do is let them dry, and then you're gonna bring them back to my house, and I would recommend just leaving them in the bowl that you made them in so that they don't crack and break because they're super fragile right now. And then once I have them and they're all the way dry, I will fire them in the kiln, and then we can use glaze to glaze them, or you can just use regular paint to paint over them. And that is it. This is what happened to the bowl that we had put clay all the way to the edge. You can see how it has started to try to pull away as it shrinks, and it was hooked, kind of caught on the edge, and so it cracked quite a bit. We'll be able to paint it over with slip, and hopefully it won't cause any long-term problems. But just remember that it's best to don't build the clay all the way to the edge of that bowl. Try to stop before it really starts to flare away.